The flash of cameras exploded as my lips met Ryan's in the middle of the crowded ballroom, his wheelchair steady beneath him while gasps rippled through the elite crowd. In that reckless second meant to shock my controlling father and homophobic colleagues. I had no idea I was about to be taught the most profound lesson about courage, identity, and love by the very man I'd used as a pawn. My name is Jordan Hayes, 27 years old, raised in a small Texas town where men didn't kiss other men, at least not openly. I'd clawed my way to Los Angeles, landing a junior executive spot at Harrington Enterprises through sheer grit and late nights. My father, a silent partner in the firm, had drilled into me that success meant fitting the mold, straight, stoic, unquestioned. But tonight, at the annual Harrington Gala, when Dad publicly praised my arrival for the promotion I deserved and muttered that real men don't need handouts, something inside me snapped. Ryan Harrington, the 31-year-old heir confined to his wheelchair since a skiing accident 5 years ago, sat at the head table looking composed in his tailored black suit. I'd overheard the whispers, how the family kept his orientation quiet to protect the brand. So I marched over, heart pounding, and did the one thing guaranteed to explode the evening. The kiss lasted only seconds, but the silence that followed felt eternal. Security moved in fast. My father's face turned purple as he shoved through the crowd. "What the hell have you done, Jordan?" he hissed, grabbing my arm so hard it bruised. Ryan, to my shock, didn't flinch. His gray eyes met mine with something like curiosity rather than anger. "Let him go," he said calmly, voice carrying over the murmurs. The room spun with flashes and questions. I was escorted out before I could process what I'd started. Back in my cramped apartment in Silver Lake, adrenaline crashed hard. I stared at my reflection, lips still tingling from the contact I'd intended as pure defiance. What had I expected? A slap? A lawsuit? Not the quiet way Ryan had looked at me, like he saw straight through the performance. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Meet me tomorrow at the beach house. 10 a.m. We need to talk." It was Ryan. I should have deleted the message. Instead, I stared at it until dawn, wondering why the man I'd used to provoke my family now held all the cards. Sunlight glinted off the Pacific as I pulled up to the Harrington Beach House in Malibu, palms swaying like they knew my secret. Ryan waited on the wide deck, wheelchair positioned to face the ocean, a tray of coffee and pastries between us. "You came," he said simply, gesturing for me to sit. No anger, no demand for apology. That unnerved me more than any shouting match. "Why did you kiss me, Jordan?" "Not the version you told security. The real reason." I swallowed, the salt air sharp in my throat. For the first time, I admitted it out loud. My father. The promotion. The way he looks at anyone who doesn't fit his idea of a man. I wanted to ruin the perfect image he's built. Ryan nodded slowly, fingers tracing the rim of his mug. "And you picked me because the family hides the fact that I'm gay. Smart move. Except now you're fired. And I'm curious about the guy behind the stunt." He shared pieces of his own story then, the accident that stole his legs, but not his drive, how the company board treated him like fragile glass while quietly sidelining him. "People assume the chair defines me," he said. "It doesn't, but it does make them reveal who they really are." I left that afternoon with his number and an invitation to dinner the next week. Driving back to the city, confusion twisted in my chest. This wasn't supposed to happen. I'd meant to burn bridges, not build one with the heir I'd humiliated. Over the following days, Ryan texted casually, asking about my photography hobby, recommending books on identity and resilience. I found myself replying, then rereading our messages late at night. My best friend Marcus noticed the change when we grabbed beers in WeHo. "Dude, you're smiling at your phone like a teenager. Who is he?" I deflected, but the question lodged deep. Who was Ryan to me now? And more terrifying, who was I becoming because of him? When we met for that dinner at a quiet Italian place in Santa Monica, Ryan rolled in wearing a simple navy shirt that made his eyes pop. Conversation flowed easily, from favorite films to childhood dreams. Then he asked the question that cracked me open. "What did you first know you liked men, Jordan?" I froze, fork halfway to my mouth. No one had ever asked so directly. I don't. I mean, the kiss was just... Ryan's smile was gentle but unflinching. Lying to me is one thing. Lying to yourself is another. Take your time. I've got nowhere to be. That night, I drove home replaying every word, the weight of years of denial pressing heavier than ever. For the first time, the man I'd kissed to define my family was teaching me I might need to define myself too. Weeks blurred into a tentative friendship that felt anything but simple. Ryan invited me to his accessible studio downtown, where he worked on digital art projects the board dismissed as hobbies. I watched him maneuver his wheelchair with practiced grace, laughing when I tripped over my own feet trying to help. "I've got it," he'd say, never impatient. One afternoon, he showed me a painting he'd done after the accident, bold strokes of color exploding across canvas. "This is what survival looks like," he explained. "Not pretty, but honest." I shared my own photos, raw street shots of LA at night, and he studied them like they mattered. "You see people, Jordan. Really see them. That's rare." The compliment landed soft and dangerous. My father called daily, demanding I apologize publicly and fix this mess. Each conversation left me drained, his words echoing the same old script. Men like us don't throw away everything for a stunt. But Ryan never pressured. Instead, he listened when I vented, then quietly asked, "What do you want?" Not what he wants. I started questioning everything. Late one evening, after a gallery opening Ryan had recommended, we sat on the pier, waves crashing below. He reached over and squeezed my hand. The touch was brief, warm, and it sent electricity I couldn't deny. "It's okay to be scared," he said. "I was too once. Still am sometimes." Back home, I stared at the ceiling, heart racing. The kiss that began as provocation had become the door to feelings I'd buried since high school. When Marcus confronted me again, I finally admitted it. "I think I'm falling for him." My friend's eyes widened. "The wheelchair guy? Your boss's son?" The label stung because it reduced Ryan to what he wasn't. He was brilliant, kind, funny, the first person who made me want to be better. But doubt crept in when my sister texted from Texas, echoing Dad's disappointment. "We love you, but this isn't who we raised." The conflict tore at me. Ryan sensed the shift during our next coffee meetup. "You're pulling away," he observed. I wanted to deny it, but the truth spilled out. "My family, they'll never accept this." He nodded, expression steady. "Then the question is, can you accept yourself?" That night, I didn't sleep, the lessons sinking in. The man I'd used to provoke everyone was now provoking me to face the truth I'd spent years running from. Tension peaked when the Harrington board meeting arrived. Ryan had convinced me to attend as his guest. A show of support, he said. My father was there too, glaring across the polished table. The agenda shifted when a rival leaked photos of our kiss to the press. Headlines screamed, "Harrington Heir's secret romance with junior exec." Chaos erupted. Dad stood, voice booming. "This ends now, Jordan. Walk away, or you're cut off from everything." Ryan wheeled forward, calm but firm. "This isn't your decision, sir. Jordan is free to choose." The room divided, whispers turning to arguments. I froze, caught between the life I'd built and the man who'd shown me a different path. Later that evening, Ryan and I argued for the first time. "You don't have to fight them from me," he said. "I've been a family secret long enough." Anger flared in me, not at him, but at the world. That's the point. I'm tired of hiding. Yet fear won the next morning. I sent a text I instantly regretted. "I need space." Days passed in silence. Marcus tried to drag me out, but I buried myself in work until a new job offer came from a competitor, one that would take me back to Texas. The betrayal hit when I learned my own cousin had sold the story to the tabloids for cash. Family loyalty shattered. Ryan's number stared at me unanswered. Then one rainy afternoon, he showed up at my door, rain dripping from his jacket. "You don't get to decide this alone," he said quietly. We talked for hours, tears mixing with confessions. He shared how the accident taught him not to waste time on other people's approval. I admitted how deeply I'd internalized my father's shame. By the time the storm cleared, I'd made my choice. I turned down the Texas offer and stood beside Ryan when he addressed the board the next week, publicly claiming our connection without apology. The sacrifice cost me my father's respect, at least for now, but the freedom felt like breathing for the first time. Growth didn't come easy. Whispers followed us at every event, some supportive, many judgmental. Ryan's mother reached out privately, torn between love for her son and loyalty to her husband. "Give him time," she told me over coffee. "He's learning too." Meanwhile, my own family stopped answering calls. The isolation weighed heavy until Ryan organized a small gathering with his close friends, all queer men and women who'd faced similar battles. Listening to their stories, I realized I wasn't alone. One night, after a particularly brutal argument with my father over the phone, I broke down in Ryan's arms. He held me steady, wheelchair adjusted, so I could lean into him. "You're not defined by their rejection," he whispered. "You're defined by what you choose next." That choice crystallized when the company faced a PR crisis over the leaked photos. Ryan proposed I lead a new diversity initiative, turning the scandal into strength. I hesitated, afraid of failing in the spotlight. But his faith pushed me forward. Weeks of late nights and tough conversations followed. I flew to Texas for one last attempt at reconciliation, facing my father across the kitchen table. "I'm gay, Dad, and I'm in love with Ryan." The words hung there, raw and true. He didn't hug me, but he didn't throw me out either. Small steps. Back in LA, Ryan greeted me at the airport with a single rose. "Proud of you," he said. The misunderstanding that nearly broke us came when an old colleague spread rumors that I was only with Ryan for career gain. Ryan heard it first and pulled away, hurt flashing in his eyes for the first time. I had to chase him down at the studio, begging him to see the truth. "I kissed you to defy them," I admitted, voice cracking. "But I stayed because I love you." He reached for my hand. "Then let's keep choosing each other." The crisis passed, leaving us stronger. Through every misstep, Ryan taught me that love wasn't about perfection. It was about showing up, even when it hurt. Months later, the city lights of Los Angeles sparkled below Ryan's penthouse balcony as we celebrated the launch of the diversity program I now headed. My father had sent a stiff but polite email, the first crack in the wall. Ryan's family still navigated their own tensions, but they no longer hid him. I stood beside his wheelchair, fingers laced with his, watching the sunset paint the sky gold. "Remember the night I kissed you?" I asked softly. He laughed, the sound warm and familiar. "How could I forget? Best bad decision you ever made." We come so far from that impulsive moment. The journey had stripped away every mask I'd worn, revealing a man capable of real love, real courage. Friends like Marcus toasted us later that evening, and even my sister called to say she was trying to understand. Ryan squeezed my hand under the table, his quiet strength the anchor I'd never known I needed. As the night wound down and guests left, we sat together in comfortable silence. "You taught me who I really am," I told him, leaning down to kiss his forehead. He smiled up at me, eyes bright. "And you taught me that sometimes the loudest provocations lead to the softest truths." The city hummed on, indifferent to our story, but for us it was everything. In the end, the man I'd kissed to defy my family had become the reason I could finally embrace it all: pain, growth, and the love that refused to stay hidden. True or false? An impulsive act meant to hurt others can ultimately heal the person who started it and everyone around them.